Hello, welcome back. I just realized I've been talking into my iPad for about 20 minutes and I forgot to hit record. So I just did a lot. I just explained a lot and I feel so awful about this, but we just lost a whole bunch of stuff. So let me just recap you on some stuff here. Mr. Troikovsky started this round, and he did it. Let's just go to where we started. So the first thing was Mr. Troikovsky. We found our first player marker, by the way. He was our first player. So what he did was, his situation was he bought one share of Blizzard, and he bought, I think, 4 or 5 shares of MKV, and then he bought a share of WW. So he's been buying his own shares, and he's in an excellent position there. Okay, so his turn summary, I mean, he's already taken like 4 turns, but that's basically what we did. We just kept buying shares of stock. Okay, Mr. Wellington was able, he started off with 3 shares, and he was able to get 4 more. And one of those was by merging H into Lawnmower. And you can see, yes, all of this money here is his. This all belongs to Lawnmower, including what's under there. So Lawnmower has a mountain of money. Also, Lawnmower is down to only 1 share because I personally bought a share, and so did Mr. Medici. Because, and we will explain that right now. Lawnmower has not done an OE run yet. And it's one of only 4 companies in the game that haven't. And remember, when you do an OE run, your stock can go up 3 blips. So it's sitting here really cheap at 165. And when it does an OE run, it's going to go up 3 spots and be right here with the rest of them that are 225. So why buy a stock for 225 when I can buy one for 165 and it's going to be worth 225 later? So we've been scooping it up, and that's the situation there. Okay, the other thing that you missed that I spent some time explaining is that Mav and SB during the last round, they ended their turns right here at the bottom of the track. So what they did was they both sold 5 shares of stock. They have the ability to sell shares. We haven't used that the entire game, but at that point, they sold 5 shares of stock, both MAV and SB, and they were able to get $750 for themselves. So there's a giant stack of money on SB, and there's another stack of money on MAV. So that was another thing I had explained, and you missed. BHB did go major, also during Mr. Wellington's turn, and you can see that's here. And BHB is the second company that has not done an OE run, so it'll have a chance to go up 3 blips. The problem with going major so late in the game is you can see its stock value is much lower, and it's never going to catch up. Okay, these other companies with the lower stock value, we also found an error. Lizard had done an OE run, so it was back here, and I moved it up. WW can never do an OE run because it's a government company, and it will be the worst stock in the game. These 2 have not yet done an OE run, so those are the final 2 that you can invest in, and they will move up 3 spots whenever they do. And so it'll be from $120 to $165, not quite the value of this, but it's still a value, and it's worth considering. Okay, while I'm standing here, well no, let's go. Medici just finished his turn. So let's explain, get you caught up on what Medici did. Medici bought 1 share of each of his companies. He bought 1 share of MAV, and he bought a share of Lawnmower. So he's just been investing in other companies and in himself. So it's back to him. No, he just finished. His very last turn was this. Okay, so now we get to Mr. Troikovsky. Oh, he took his turn already and bought a share of WW. Oh, and then he took his turn and he went major. That's what happened. Okay, so to get caught up, the very last thing that happened was Mr. Wellington went and he went major. And that's when I realized I hadn't hit the record button. So I was just explaining the rule that if you go major, he already had all 4 shares. Because remember, there's only 4 shares when you're a regional. When you go major, you do not have the option to buy another share. That option only exists if one of those original 4 shares was still available. So he went major, and that was his entire turn. So now we're going to come to De Gaulle and get you caught up there. De Gaulle, I was explaining, I think is losing the game. Like the last place losing the game. It doesn't help when he failed to hit his goals of doing an OE run before the governments came in. But the other thing is he's running out of money, and he still has a lot of shares to purchase. I was also explaining that there's some opportunity to use these, and he will, and I was explaining when this would be a fantastic time, and of course I didn't hit record. And what I was trying to explain was that if Lille were to somehow get blocked, like if somebody were to put a token there and block Bell from getting to London, this you can put in Lille, because this does not take up the spot. It just sits off to the side, and it counts as having a token there. So that means you can go through the, so if somebody else were to put a token there, you can still go through the city. That is the value behind this. And I was just trying to explain that if you look at Bell's situation, there's nothing blocked, so he doesn't need to use it. And the same is true for RCP. And the same is true for Chin and Plum. So I hope it's starting to make some sense that there's really not a lot of value in using this yet. I think the one thing I may have wanted to do was put it here for Chin so he can come through, but this does not count as a port. That's the one problem with it. It does count as a token, but not as a port. The port is what the Star Harbor does. And then we have this, which gives us a free token placement. And I was just explaining that, you know, 2 of our companies haven't even paid the $20 to place their token yet. So it is his turn, and it's $120. So he's going to buy a share of Bell. And we moved his shares up here so they're easier to see. So we're going to give him $125. We need $5 back. And I guess we're going to have to get change for a 10. And this is what I'm talking about. He's running out of money. He's going to be able to buy 1 more share. And that's a real shame. He should have at least been able to finish buying shares for his companies. Because if we come to us, we've actually maxed out, and that's what we did. We were already maxed out with DSJ. We maxed out on KBS, and we maxed out on SB. Our purchases of SB had to go to the bank because SB had already sold its shares. So we're completely maxed out, and it's to our turn. You can see KBS has a big mountain of cash. SB has a big mountain of cash. And DSJ is hurting, and there's not a lot we can do. So DSJ has to start doing what we call half capping. And the other thing that we can do for DSJ is we can, and right now we're going to do a merger. So DSJ is a valuable company for us. And as you know, DSJ failed to even go up in stock. It was actually the most valuable company in the game, and we lost it because of our own stupidity. So let's not do that again. So L is our most precious company. By far, it's absolutely precious. And if we were to merge L with DSJ, the situation is we're going to be maxed out on trains. But it doesn't matter. Whoever we merge L with is going to get that situation. DSJ does have nice synergy with L, so they can like bounce through England, through Scandinavia, and then into Russia, and then all the way down. So it is a nice synergy. And in all honesty, I think that's a smart move. So we're going to merge L with J. So it gets all the money. We get the 1 + 1 with J. We get the track right, but this track right does nothing for J. And then the train. We get the train. So everything is set up there for J. I was explaining that Austria-Hungary is not a really great government. I was thinking that one of my companies really should become a government, and it might be KBS. I don't know. KBS has so much money, but somebody needs to become one, or otherwise I'm going to be stuck with all these 3 trains, and they're going to just rust on me. SB is the best candidate to become one, but like I said, Austria is just such an awful place to be a government. And then look at all these cities that we haven't developed and all those whistle stops. It would be very bad. DSJ could become a government, but if that's the case, I don't want to merge with DSJ right now. And DSJ actually is probably, of the 3, the best suited to be a government. No, it's not. We put J in here. So he's already got a 10% discount on trains. And he actually bought a 4 train, didn't he? And a 3 train with this, and we forgot. So he gets $22 back for that, and then $35 back for that. So let's just give him $50 and call it. So he gets $50 because this is a 10% discount on all train purchases. That includes the Pullman, which is another 15. All right, so we got him some cash back. Okay, so we did the merger. As far as who is going to be the government, I would say it would have to be SB, because KBS is actually in Constantinople, which is a wonderful place to be, and we don't want to give that up. 2 of our companies made it there out of the 3 spots that are available. That's huge. And then SB is going to be an awful government. So we may not have a government this game. The best candidate for government is DSJ at this point, and I don't want to do it. So we don't have to make this decision now, but for merging purposes, it's not a good idea to merge this into a company that you think is going to be a government. But I'm going to leave it as it is, and SB might be the government, it might not. Let's just play it out. These 3 trains, if I had a government, I would sell them to the government and make more money for my company. That's the whole point of this, is you get that money back by selling these. And who am I going to sell them to? I mean, I could sell them to Kibbles and Bits. Very bad planning on my part. So that's our turn, by the way. We merged with L. By merging with L, we get a share of DSJ for ourselves. So we are now at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shares of DSJ. So we go back to... Now, that's the thing. There was a share of lawnmower left. I probably should have purchased that. But it was my mistake. I left it available for Mr. Medici. And guess what Mr. Medici is going to do? For $150.65, he will gladly buy the last share of lawnmower. Okay, now we get to Mr. Tchaikovsky, and he's been buying shares of his WW, but his WW is going to be the worst stock in the game, so he doesn't want to get too much. He's probably buying just enough so he can make money off of it. And he doesn't have a lot of money left. That's the other thing. So for $120, he's going to buy a share WW. So he's up to 4 shares of that. Mr. Wellington did go major last turn. He has 2 companies completely sold out and 1 left. And for BHB, that is his next investment. BHB is $110 a share. So there's $110 to get a share of BHB. And he is now at 5 shares. So we go over to DeGaulle. DeGaulle is running out of money fast. So we have this RCP here. And he only has 3 shares of it. So he's going to buy for, I think it was, yeah, it's 120. So there's 125. $5 back and gets a share of RCP. So he's at 4 shares and he is out of money. He's the first one. Another thing I explained off camera because I thought I was recording, but I really wasn't, is the stock round is how you gauge whether or not you're winning. The first player to run out of money is usually losing, and the last player to run out of money is the one that's usually winning. And DeGaulle has just run out of money. So now it comes to us. We're in a weird situation. If we're willing to pay double for SB, we can actually get more shares of SB and get that to 100% ownership. And that's a really crazy idea. It's not the craziest in the world. I mean, we can spend, it's $150 a share. And we could actually, own 100% of our company. And so whatever it does money-wise, we're just going to get to pocket for ourselves. The thing is you have to pay double. So that's $300 a share. So I don't know if that's worth it. If this was Kibbles and Bits or DSJ, I would do it in a heartbeat. But SB, I'm a little bit more concerned about. But with that being said, I think there's some excellent stocks to purchase. We cannot buy any more of our own stocks. We're maxed out. We did a merger, and we should have bought Lawnmower. And so I'm realizing, you know what? I still have to do one more merger, right? B here needs to merge. And I will merge it with Kibbles and Bits if I'm going to merge it with somebody. You know what? I am going to do that in case Kibbles and Bits sells out. So we're going to merge with Kibbles and Bits. Now, Kibbles and Bits didn't need the money as much. So you might be thinking, well, why didn't you just merge with J or DSJ and get that last share? I can't. You're only allowed to do one merger per major in every stock round. So we already did our merger. That was the L company. So now B, his benefit, can I actually do this without knocking the thing over? Look at that. That takes skill. Okay, so Kibbles and Bits now owns B, and we get a share of Kibbles and Bits. That was a high value stock. That's a $225 stock. So that was worth doing. It's one of the best stocks in the game. In fact, I did realize I forgot something. For DSJ, we got to take some tokens here. 2 of them, in fact. And we get one in London and one in Scotland. And we are going to use both. And I'll put these over there for now. And then Kibbles and Bits gets B. And what we're going to do is we're going to put one here, and then we're going to not put one there because I'm tired of that being blocked. And so Kibbles and Bits will actually keep his token. He doesn't need a token in whatever city that is. Praha. So it looks like some Czechoslovakia city there. So, okay, that's it for our turn. And then coming over to here, B, D, L, they're all done. Okay, coming back to Medici. Medici cannot buy any more Lawnmower. He's going to buy a share of MZA. So MZA is $225. That's a very expensive share. If he does buy it, it's going to cost him almost everything he has. And he's going to do it, although he wants to buy some MAV. So this is going to the bank, because MZA is a government company. And we're going to come over here, take this, and so he's now maxed out at 6 shares. Okay, get to Mr. Troikovsky. He's running out of money. In fact, I think he might be out of money. He can't buy anything. Now, here's the thing. They can always sell shares. But you're selling your own company shares. So he's going to do a merger. He only has 2 major companies. He has Lizard and MSP. So one's going to go to MSP, the other's going to go to Lizard. So he's going to put G in with MSP. So MSP will get all that money. And Denmark writes. And then next turn, E will go to there. And he does get a share of MSP stock for that. So that was beneficial for him. So now we come here, and $110 gets him a share of BHB. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shares of BHB. He's maxed out there. Okay, moving on to De Gaulle. De Gaulle is done money-wise, but he can still do a merger. And so he's going to merge the very profitable K company in with Bell. So all this money is going to go to Bell, and he will get a share of Bell stock in exchange for that. So that actually puts him at 5 shares of Bell. It would have been nice if he would have. So one of the things we could have done was, instead of buying evenly, we could have, these 2 shares of RCP could have been 2 shares of Bell, and that would have been maxed out at 6. And then when he would have done the merger, he would have had 7 shares of Bell. But then he still has to do another merger here, and that's going to end up going into RCP. So the K company, it's not an easy way to do this, does go away. And so we're going to move chin up and plumb over. And let's see, maybe we're just going to move, instead of moving chin up, we'll just move chin over this way. And then plumb over and up. And then just put K next to Bell, like so. And then we're going to move plumb down, and we're actually going to put C up sideways, because guess who C is going to merge with? It'll be RCP. So we're going to move these down like this, so to show that they're merged with each other. Okay, K tokens, we're going to grab a Bell token here and put it where K is, and that's in Portugal. So we're going to put it in Portugal, and Bell is declining the ability to put a token there. It's a worthless spot. So it was great for K to start there, but not much else. So K is out, like so. Now it gets back to us. We still have some cash, and that's a good sign. Okay, MZA is a nice company. So we can look at trying to snatch up some Medici companies. MSP is a nice company. We can look up to snatch up some of those Russian companies. But right now, well, here's the thing. BHB is going to do an OE run, and it's going to bump up 3, and it'll finish off, so it'll go from $110 to $165, but that's still going to be behind everybody else. So it's going to go up, and it's going to be nice, but it's not going to be as nice as other shares. So this is a big debate. Now it just becomes, where do we spend our money? If I buy a share of MSP, it goes to the MSP company, which will help them will help Mr. Russia, Mr. Tchaikovsky to get good. But I'm looking over here and I see that there's some stuff in the market. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend $225 to the bank and get a share of MZA, which is just as valuable as any of those other companies. And except I'm not giving any money to Mr. Medici. I'm just getting a share of this. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to set these up like so. All right. Moving on to Mr. Medici. Sorry, I just stopped to think. Okay, Mr. Medici is running out of money. He doesn't like the fact that we still have money. He wants to buy shares of MAV, but he also knows he wants to buy shares of DSJ because our company is really good. And he knows it's really good. And that is his AI directive. The problem is MAV is also his directive. MAV does have a lot of money, and 5 shares are in the market. So when he buys those shares, the money goes to the bank. But he can still buy 2 more shares over here, and the money would go to the company. It's $150 a share, so if we sit here and think it out, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then that would be 75, 85, 95, 105, 110, 120, 120. So he doesn't have enough to buy 2 shares of MAV. He can only buy 1 share of MAV. MAV is not worth as much as DSJ. So he could, that's $100, 25, 35, 45, 55. Well, let's just get some change. 3, 4, 5. That's $50. So that's 150, 175, 85, 95, 205, 215, 225, and he would have $3 left. So he can buy a $225 company. And in that big stack of doom, he can choose any of them except for MZA, which is his. He can't get GWR because it's sold out. He can't get Lawnmower because it's sold out. So that's 1, 2, 3 of the companies in that big stack of doom. The other ones are Mr. DeGaule's companies, and he's not real impressed with how Mr. DeGaulle runs his companies. MSP is one of them, and he does like how MSP goes. But what he's going to do is he's going to buy a share of DSJ because there's only 1 share of it left, and he already has 1 share. So it'll help him to grow. And it also means that when I make money, he makes money. So my advantage on him, if I have a lead in the game, is not going to be as strong. Because the more money I make for me, the more money I make for him. So if I am winning the game, he's reducing by how much I'm winning the game. Because I can't gain ground on him as easily. Okay, he is running out of stuff to do though. He does have 2 mergers to do. So we come back over to here, and oh boy, Tchaikovsky is just going to do his merger with Blizzard. So this money goes over, and E is going to go away. We don't need to worry about track rights. And so a share of Blizzard will go into his pool. So he now has E company with Lizard. And actually, there's a couple of things we need to do. MSP merged with G, so it actually gets that token there. And then Lizard merged with E, so it's going to be down here in Sevastopol. good to go. Mr. Wellington has his 6 shares of BHB, so he's going to merge D in with BHB. So we're going to give the D token's out of the game. We're going to give this token to Mr. BHB, and BHB, more importantly, gets another 3 train, which was the more valuable thing. If you recall, actually, I was talking about this before I forgot to hit, before I remembered to hit record. I wanted to merge D in with Lawnmower, but D had a train, and Lawnmower is maxed out on his trains. He has maximum number of trains. So by doing this, I was able to give a train to BHB, and BHB desperately needs one. So that worked out. This is pretty useless. I mean, technically it belongs to BHB, but it doesn't give you any track discounts, so you can just throw it out. Okay, and in doing so, we get another share of BHB, so we're up to 7 now. So Mr. Wellington is sitting in great shape, and he even has a lot of cash left. Although the BHB shares are much cheaper, and so were the Lawnmower shares. So that's where it could be misleading. It looks like he's winning, but he really did buy shares that were lower value. However, those shares, when they do OE runs, are going to become higher value, so don't be misled. He is in a great position. He's one of the top 3 in my mind. Okay, Mr. DeGaulle is going to finish with merging C. And so, unfortunately, it's a 3, not a 3 plus 3. But that will merge in with RCP here. And be done like so. And he will get a share of it. So he's up to 5 shares of RCP. And the C tokens really do go out of the game. However, we will keep one because he actually can go first even up here on this board. Okay, so now it's to us. We can buy a share. And I'm going to set this here. Hopefully you can see it really well. This stack of Doom is the highest value stock in the game. We own this one. You know what? MZA is the one we've been purchasing. MKV is a good purchase. KBS is ours. Chin is DeGaulle. Plum is DeGaulle. And MSP. So Mr. Tchaikovsky, Mr. DeGaulle, and myself, we all have 2 companies in that stack. Mr. Wellington is going to skip over us when Lawnmower goes up. Or he'll join us when Lawnmower goes up. And then GWR is already ahead of us. So technically we all have 2 in that stack except for Mr. Medici. And Medici has 2 of them right behind us. So it's not too far behind. And he's investing heavily in us, so I think he's fine. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to spend $225 to the bank and keep following up with our strategy and buy an MZA. Because that's a safe, high-value stock that does not help Medici. But it helps us. Okay, now we go to Mr. Medici. He is out of money. And he's going to be doing some mergers, though. So he's going to merge M and all of its cash in with MAV. So all the Pullmans are coming over. And I'm just going to set them above MAV here. And this M token is out of the game. Put that over there. And MAV's going to... Where is M? Oh, yeah, this is great for MAV. So now MAV is in Italy. That's actually a good move. And then C, I need to make sure I put an RCP token here in Amsterdam. So MAV is now in Italy. And we get a share, Medici gets a share of MAV. So it's one of the two. Oh, we get to choose. So in this situation, you can choose to take a share from here or a share from the bank. Do you? This is an excellent question. I can tell you for sure that if there was no shares here, you get to take one from the bank. You get to take it from the bank. And that's exactly what he would do. So there we go. That's a fourth share of MAV. And we come over here to Tchaikovsky. He's completely merged. So now we just got to make sure he's not breaking any rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21 certificates. He's allowed to have 29. So he's not quite at his maximum. And he's passing. There's nothing he can do. We go to Mr. Wellington. As far as his own stocks are concerned, 2 of his companies are completely sold out, and his third company he cannot buy any more shares of. So now he gets to buy other stuff, and Mr. Wellington doesn't like Mr. Medici very much because he keeps buying his shares, and he could try to buy MAV from him because if he buys more shares, he knows that Medici's out of money. Medici only has 4 shares of MAV, so if he buys 5 shares of MAV, he gets to steal the company from him. Oh, what a web. But here's the thing. Medici's not going to let him do it. As soon as Medici catches on that that's what he's trying to do, Medici will sell either GWR or Lawnmower and gain money from the bank and use it to buy MAV. So that's not the best strategy in the world. So now it's just, let's just make money. So in the stack of doom is MSP, Kibbles and Bits, and the De Gaulle companies. So of all of those, he likes MSP. So for $225, he's going to buy a share of MSP. So we're going to go here, grab a share of MSP, and we'll just stick it right there and have it go this way. So he has a share of MSP. That's a good move. Okay, now we're going to move over to De Gaulle. De Gaulle is going to pass. He's done his merger, he's done everything, but let's not forget to put that RCP token in Amsterdam, which also really helps RCP. Now RCP is not just in Spain. So that merger was a real good merger for him. And putting Bell in Spain was a good merger for him too. So he was really smart with his mergers. It gets to us. We still have $225. And we're going to go ahead and buy a share of MZA. And unfortunately, it'd be nice if we could buy that last share of MZA, because that MZA, if it's sold out, it gets an automatic bump on the stock market. All right, so we're going to come back around. Medici is going to do another merger, and it's going to merge company A here with SFAI. Yeah. So let me just grab the tokens off the board. And A's money is going to go, actually he's going to merge it with SFR because SFR is in a lot worse financial situation. And so here's what it says. When merged into a major, the bank pays cash into the major's treasury equal to the share value of the major. Even if no share is available, the cash is never part of the minor's treasury. So we get a share of SFR. So Medici gets another share. And SFR's value is $200. So $200 more goes into the major. And you can take this out of the game. It's completely useless. There's no special power the minor has other than it just gives you a big flux of cash, which $200 is nothing to sneeze at. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 shares. And then this is 27, 28 certificates. So it's not shares, it's certificates. 28 certificates out of 29. He is really close to his max. He is by far winning the game. If you compare that to Troikovsky, he was in the low 20s. He wasn't even close. He's one share away, or one certificate away from being at his max. Now, he's going to close these companies so he can still buy more shares eventually, but he was really close to hitting his max. So, well done, Medici. That's a good game. So he's going to be a tough opponent here. So Troikovsky, we already passed. We get back to Wellington. And so here's our dilemma. We want to buy all the shares of a company, and there's 2 shares of MSP. And it thinks he probably could afford it. If he buys the last share of MZA, MZA will get an automatic bump. But he knows that Medici's winning, and maybe MZA should not get the automatic bump. And he knows Troikovsky's losing, so he's going to just keep buying Troikovsky's company. It's worth the same amount, and if that last share of Troikovsky is purchased, then Troikovsky gets the automatic bump and not him. So there is some good strategy there. Okay, we're going to move around to De Gaulle. De Gaulle, of course, is passing as well. And let's count his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. De Gaulle is by far losing the game. He's got an awful stock. His stock values are all high, though. Well, no, they're not. Yeah, he's losing pretty badly. Okay, getting to us, we're out of money. So we have to pause. And let's count our situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then of course these two would be 24. But being at 22, we're not that much better off than Troikovsky. I'm not sure we're winning the game. I think Medici is running away with it, to be honest. Our companies are in great shape to make some money, though. His are not. So, well, his will make decent money, but they're government. And government has it goes up, but then it caps out in terms of what it can do. Whereas these can keep making more and more as the trains get better. Once we start getting into the gray trains, these will start to make gangbuster money. Okay, moving on. We're with Medici, and there is nothing left for him to do. He passes. Troikovsky passes. Mr. Wellington will pay $2.25 to buy the last MSP. De Gaulle's passing. We are passing. So it comes back to here. And he's out of money, so he passes. So the priority token, who's going to go first, will be Mr. De Gaulle next time. So we come over to here. And that's our situation. There should be 0 companies, 0 miners left in the game. And that's pretty normal. So this regional board will no longer be used. And everything's going to be up there from here on out. There's actually a lot less companies to operate. So you would think that the operating rounds are going to go quicker. Yes and no. They're going to take longer because now we have to add more sites, right? So if you have a 7+7 train, you're going to have to figure out how to run it. And it can be a little dicey. But anyways, that's it for the market phase. We're moving to operating round. Thanks for watching.